All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are climbing into the cockpit of an absolute legend, the F-14 Tomcat. Now, for any new pilot or their RIO, that's the Radar Intercept Officer, that first dogfight, that first merge, it's the ultimate test. And your absolute Bible for survival, it's the official NATOPS flight manual. We've gone through it and broken it all down into 5 core pillars that are going to take you from just trying to survive the fight to actually winning it. But before we even think about pulling any high G turns, you have to understand the gravity of this book. The NATOPS manual? Well, it's not a collection of friendly suggestions. It's a rulebook written in blood. So when you see this word warning, that's a direct message from every aviator who flew before you. And what they're saying is, ignore this and you risk injury or death. This isn't a game. This is about getting you home in one piece.
So how do you get good at this? How do you become a confident dogfighter? Well, NATOPS gives us a really clear path, and we're going to cover it as 5 essential pillars. First step, we'll start with the jet's physical limits. Then we'll master how you actually see the fight. After that, we'll learn how to control the jet right on its performance edge, what to do when you push it too far, and finally, how to make absolutely sure your weapons are ready to go. You see, it's a clear progression, from basic survival to achieving victory.
Okay, let's dive right in with Pillar 1. Know your jet's limits. Look, before you can even think about the other guy, the bandit, you have to know your own aircraft inside and out. Every single machine has its breaking points. And for the F-14, these limits, they're not just suggestions. They are the unbreakable rules that keep you and this incredible aircraft in one piece. Now, I know these numbers might look a little dry, but trust me, they are the razor-thin line between life and death in a dogfight. This table shows your engine's absolute, non-negotiable limits. If your exhaust gas temp spikes past 935 degrees Celsius, you're not just getting a warning light, you're risking a catastrophic engine fire. Pushing past the max RPM or fuel flow, yeah, that can have equally disastrous results. These aren't just numbers, they define the entire performance envelope of your Tomcat. You've got to know these numbers cold. And how about this one number? 76,000 pounds. This single number dictates the very start of your mission. It's the maximum gross weight for a catapult launch. Think about that. The entire airframe, every single rivet and wire, is engineered to withstand the insane, violent force of being hurled off a moving carrier deck at this weight. You go even 1 pound over, and the mission could end right there, catastrophically, before it even begins. This one limit controls everything from your fuel to your weapons loadout. Okay, so you know the jet's physical limits. That brings us right to Pillar 2, master your field of view. Now you need to master how the jet shows you the world. In a dogfight, your eyes are your primary weapon, no doubt, but they are backed up by some critical displays that paint the full tactical picture for you. Your 2 main windows on the world are the vertical display indicator, or VDI, and the horizontal situation display, the HSD. The easiest way to think about it is this. The VDI is your head-up view. It's telling you what the jet is doing right now, your attitude, pitch, and roll. The HSD, on the other hand, is your God's eye view. It's painting that bigger tactical picture, where you are, your waypoints, and most importantly, where the bad guys are. The real skill is scanning between them seamlessly, constantly shifting your brain from what is my jet doing to where am I in this fight. And now we get to what is, without a doubt, one of the most important concepts in all of fighter aviation. Pillar 3. You must respect the angle of attack. This isn't just about yanking back on the stick. No, this is the fine art of squeezing every single ounce of performance out of your wings without stalling and falling out of the sky. So what is it? Simply put, angle of attack, or AOA, is just the angle between your wing and the air that's rushing at it. But here's the Tomcat twist, the thing you have to get right. The NATOPS manual and your cockpit gauges, they don't measure it in degrees. They use units on a scale from 0 to 30. Mastering this scale is the absolute key. It's the secret language of the jet, and it's how you get the tightest turn possible without stalling the aircraft. And this right here, this is the gauge you will live and die by, the AOA indicator. It looks like a simple vertical tape, but it tells you everything you need to know about your jet's energy. In a dogfight, you're constantly glancing at it, trying to stay on that sweet spot for maximum lift. And see that amber donut, the approach reference bar at 15 units? That is the perfect on-speed AOA for landing on the carrier. That one symbol is burned into the mind of every naval aviator. It represents absolute precision and control under the most intense pressure imaginable. You know, pushing the limits is part of dogfighting. But what happens when you push a little too far? Well, that brings us to Pillar 4, conquering out-of-control flight. This is all about what to do when you depart controlled flight and enter a spin. This is that moment where just memorizing the manual isn't enough. It has to be pure muscle memory that saves your life. You have to follow this procedure exactly as it's laid out in NATOPS, no exceptions. First, throttles to idle. That kills any asymmetric thrust from the engines. Second, controls neutral. That means stick and rudders are perfectly centered. Third, you cross-check your instruments to confirm you're really in a spin. Once you're sure, you apply the specific recovery controls. You'll feel the spin stop and see the AOA break. Now, this last step is critical. You pull out of the dive at exactly 17 units AOA. Why? To lose the minimum amount of altitude and get yourself back in the fight as fast as possible. It's a precise sequence you have to drill until it is pure instinct. All right, you've mastered the aircraft, you can read your displays, you know how to recover. Now it's time to go on the offensive. This brings us to the final and maybe most critical pillar: checks for the fight. This is that last mental checklist you and your RIO run through in the final seconds before engagement to turn your aircraft from just a jet into a weapon.
These are the final moments of preparation. This is the air-to-air check. You're confirming your radar mode is set for the threat. The master arm switch goes from safe to arm. You and your RIO are rapidly cycling through the weapon select switches: Phoenix, Sparrow, Sidewinder, making sure the jet is ready to fire its long, medium, and short-range missiles. It's that final, critical confirmation that when you squeeze that trigger, a weapon is going to come off the rail.
So let's bring it all together. You've got limits, displays, AOA, recovery, and finally your weapons checks. These 5 pillars from NATOPS, they are the absolute foundation. But here's the thing, this isn't about just memorizing a book. It's about taking this knowledge and through endless practice, burning it into pure instinct. Because in a dogfight, there is no time to look up the answer. There is only instinct. And instinct is what leads to victory. Look, the NATOPS manual, it lays out the entire blueprint for success. It gives you all the knowledge you could ever need to operate the F-14 right at the edge of its capabilities. But it can't give you the feel of the jet. It can't give you the judgment that only comes from experience. So the final question is really for you. The manual gives you the knowledge, but do you have the skill to apply it? That's the journey every single Tomcat crew has to take.